That's his son.
You think that's his son?
Yeah. First of all, Jay-Z offered them money. At first, he offered them bread, like, and everything, but his aunt didn't, like, approve of it. She said, no, Jay-Z got a lien on her house, all type of shit that was going on. The lady put up paperwork and everything with his name on it and all that. I mean, but Young Boy's so thorough, though, he just wanted dad. He not trying to get no money. He not trying to do none of that. But something happened to him, and I was like, yo, that sound kind of weird. He said he was coming out from work, going to work, and it was a gun in his car. Like, when he opened the door, he seen the gun. He said so he went to go, like, call his man, like, yo, did you leave a gun in my car? His man's like, no. He said, why you on the phone talking to his man? The cops pull up and block him up. He said, he told the cops, no, that's not my guns. Like, so he went in the building he was in, and they seen that somebody pulled up and put the guns in his car.
Oh.
And pulled off. I said, bro, I don't know nobody in the hood that got guns to just waste like that to do that. I don't know what. He's like, yeah, so like Jay-Z had a gag order against him, like trying to get a gag order and trying to. If my thing is, if this is not my son, I'll just take a test, get over with.
Picture rap's reigning titan forced into a corner by a singular, relentless question. One no Grammy haul, billion-dollar contract, or discreet payoff can mute. For roughly 15 years, that question has trailed Shawn Jay-Z Carter through court dockets, corporate boardrooms, and celebrity gossip columns, driven by Philadelphia native Rymir Satterthwaite, who's convinced the genetic code that built Roc Nation is coursing through his own veins. Now, with a judge ordering a definitive DNA test and Beyoncé's father Matthew Knowles allegedly demanding accountability to protect the family brand, the stakes have never been higher. This isn't just another celebrity scandal. It's a collision of legacy, legality, and morality, where a single cheek swab could rewrite hip-hop history and shake the Carter dynasty to its core. Grab your seat. This saga is about to reach its most dramatic act.
Way beyond, I feel like, right now I feel like I got a bigger fight, this is part of my life, so I won't stop fighting for, the paternity or anything else, whatever I put my mind to, I fully go. I was hoping that it wasn't true, but if it is, honestly, you cannot do things like that. You will get what you deserve. I don't know what them guys was thinking. I don't know what he was thinking, if it's true, Only he can respond and get himself out of this.
Beyoncé's father, Matthew Knowles, has watched Jay-Z's controversies, from the infamous elevator dust-up to lingering rumors of infidelity, splash back onto his daughter's pristine image for years. Sources close to the Knowles camp say this latest development, a looming DNA test that could confirm Jay-Z fathered a child with a minor 3 decades ago, finally pushed Matthew past his tipping point. Behind closed doors, he allegedly confronted Jay-Z, stressing that unresolved baggage doesn't just tarnish a personal reputation, it threatens the Carter empire that he, Beyoncé, and Jay-Z spent 2 decades cultivating. Matthew's stance is that family skeletons are inevitable, but ducking accountability only magnifies the embarrassment when truth surfaces. Industry insiders note that his business acumen rivals Jay-Z's. A stern rebuke from Papa Knowles therefore carries both personal and corporate weight. For Jay-Z, the stakes are now higher than tabloid chatter. Alienating a protective, savvy father-in-law could fracture the carefully balanced Carter-Knowles alliance and shake investor confidence in every venture from music catalogs to fashion lines. The biggest headline in this sprawling drama is that a New Jersey judge has finally told Jay-Z enough is enough. With more than a decade of procedural dodging, the court issued a direct order compelling him to submit a DNA sample. For years, Jay-Z's attorneys leaned on arguments about jurisdiction, claiming he had no business ties to New Jersey, and poked holes in every filing Rymir made. But momentum shifted when Rymir's legal team unearthed tax documents suggesting Shawn Carter did have connections in the Garden State, undercutting the defense's favorite stall tactic. The judge's ruling signals that the court is tired of the endless back and forth and wants to resolve paternity once and for all. This mandate doesn't just put Jay-Z on the spot. It also establishes that celebrity power can't forever override a citizen's right to basic answers about family lineage. Rymir Satterthwaite's origin story traces back to the early 1990s in Philadelphia. According to Rymir, his mother, then a 16-year-old high schooler, entered a brief romance with a 22-year-old Shawn Carter who was hustling his way into the rap game. By the time Rymir was born in 1993, the couple had drifted apart, and Rymir's mom reunited with her teenage sweetheart, Robert Graves. To keep life simple and perhaps avoid scandal, she listed Graves on the birth certificate. Years later, plagued by guilt, she revealed Jay-Z might be Rymir's actual father. That confession became Rymir's North Star, pushing him to seek truth even when society, the internet, and one of music's most powerful moguls seemed determined to label him a clout chaser. From 2010 onwards, Rymir's quest felt like an endless obstacle course. First stop, Pennsylvania Family Court, which dismissed his filing on a technicality. He'd already turned 18, making jurisdiction shaky under local statutes. Undeterred, Rymir marched across state lines to New Jersey, filing suit once more.
To get fair due process, they just been, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, so I can't get in there and actually know fully what's going on. I'm only there to, say what I believe in, and, you guys can put me on the lie detector test, anything else you want me to do. I always been here to stand on the truth. I told them if it was wrong, I'm a man, I can apologize, but for me to go in there and ask for fair due process and not get it, and they just throw you all around like you're a rag doll, I just find that to be crazy, and I really think we need to change that. Like, it's craziness. I'm not asking for nothing. I always been on here. I wasn't never asking for nothing. People can say what they want. As I said, I work, I'm doing great. I gotta take care of my kids. Like, I'm driving a nice car, I'm getting nice income. So it's not like I never been here asking for nothing or trying to get 15 minutes of fame. So people just gotta realize that these court systems and these people that's out here and controlling these people that's in the court systems, we need to change it, because if we can't go and get fair due process, what are we all paying taxes and all this for?
Jay-Z's team countered that he had zero personal or professional ties there, so a judge tossed the case again. Each time Rymir appealed, new hurdles appeared. Paperwork discrepancies, clerical delays, even questions over whether Shawn Carter on tax forms was the Shawn Jay-Z Carter. Critics accused Rymir of chasing fame, yet he persisted, gathering allies like the NAACP and ACLU, who argued he was being denied fair due process because of the enormous financial and legal weight stacked against him. One detail setting Rymir apart from typical celebrity-adjacent lawsuits is his public insistence that money isn't the goal. In multiple interviews, he's emphasized that he already holds down steady work, supports his kids, drives a decent car, and isn't seeking payout headlines. What he craves is clarity and, if paternity proves true, a genuine father-son relationship. He's repeatedly said he doesn't expect to join the Carter Trust Fund or stand front row at the Grammys. Instead, he wants closure so he can stop living under a question mark. This stance undercuts the narrative that he's a gold digger and paints a more sympathetic picture of a man who feels a core piece of his identity has been withheld for decades. Things took a chilling turn when Rymir claimed he discovered an unregistered handgun on the floorboard of his car after finishing a shift at work. While he was phoning a friend to ask if it was theirs, police suddenly appeared and considered arresting him. Surveillance footage later showed someone unknown sliding the weapon into the vehicle moments before. Rymir believes this was meant to scare him into silence, pointing fingers, albeit without definitive proof, at people acting in Jay-Z's interest. Jay-Z's lawyers flatly deny any involvement, branding the tale a fabrication. Yet the episode fuels public suspicion that powerful forces might prefer Rymir drop the case altogether and underscores how high the stakes and tensions become. When the NAACP and ACLU step into a family law dispute, bigger principles are in play. These organizations argued Rymir's repeated dismissals reeked of unequal treatment and courthouse maneuvers accessible only to the ultra-wealthy. They framed the battle as not merely personal but emblematic of how ordinary citizens can be steamrolled by star-powered legal teams. Their involvement lent Rymir newfound credibility, shifting media coverage from aspiring rapper seeks payday to man fighting systemic hurdles. It also subtly reminded courts that public scrutiny was now intense. Any decision would be judged not just on legal grounds but also on perceptions of fairness in an age of widening wealth gaps. And if DNA confirms paternity, the timeline indicates Jay-Z was a 22-year-old adult involved with a 16-year-old minor, opening a Pandora's box of statutory questions. While statutes of limitation may have expired for criminal charges, public opinion courts have no deadlines. Brands tied to Jay-Z, from luxury champagnes to streaming services, could face reputational blowback. Beyoncé's feminist-leaning image might suffer collateral damage, complicating her advocacy on women's empowerment. Carter's combined billion-dollar enterprise thrives on aspirational storytelling. Revelations of teenage pregnancy with a minor could erode that narrative and invite renewed scrutiny of older lyrics, past behaviors, and current business ethics. For years, Jay-Z let legal filings do the talking, but the latest court-ordered DNA push triggered his team to issue a sweeping statement. They characterized Rymir's suit as a decades-long harassment campaign, noting multiple prior dismissals. They claim every outreach attempt, to Rymir's guardian or attorneys, was met with hostility, framing themselves as reasonable while hinting Rymir's side seeks publicity. They categorically deny intimidation, calling the gun incident an outright lie. The subtext is clear. They hope to reframe Jay-Z as the victim of false allegations, not the aggressor avoiding accountability. Yet skeptics argue that if he truly wants closure, a cheek swab is quicker and cheaper than years of litigation. Before headlines and hashtags, the first public spark ignited in February 2010, when an 18-year-old Rymir Satterthwaite filed a paternity suit in Pennsylvania family court. Up until that moment, whispers about Jay-Z's possible secret child circulated only in neighborhood gossip and obscure blogs. The lawsuit thrust the rumor into mainstream media, forcing entertainment outlets to cover a narrative that clashed sharply with Jay-Z's carefully managed image as a newlywed husband to Beyoncé, whom he married in 2008. Rymir's original filing cited his late mother's confession, attached an affidavit explaining why another man's name appeared on the birth certificate, and requested nothing more than a court-ordered DNA test. Jay-Z's legal team responded swiftly by questioning the court's jurisdiction and leveraging procedural rules to have the case dismissed on age of majority grounds. Though technically a loss for Rymir, the filing was the match that lit a decade-long blaze. Blogs debated timelines, fans examined lyrics for clues, and legal analysts predicted an eventual showdown. In retrospect, that 2010 dismissal did not close a door. It cracked one open, inviting years of speculation, further filings in New Jersey, and ultimately the 2025 order that now has Jay-Z's back against the wall. In the social media arena, patience for Jay-Z's evasiveness is wearing thin. Comment sections overflow with calls like, "Take the test already," and silence speaks volume. Even fans who once gave him the benefit of the doubt view the prolonged fight as suspicious. Influencer commentary posits that a simple negative result would have cost Jay-Z a single afternoon in a clinic, suggesting his refusal may mask deeper concerns. Meanwhile, Rymir continues to win empathy by appearing calm, respectful, and adamant about truth over money. Whether or not DNA links them, the longer this drags on, the more Jay-Z's brand risks morphing from rap mogul genius to opaque billionaire dodging responsibility, a narrative that could linger long after the lab results are unveiled. Imagine the collective gasp the moment those lab results hit the courtroom docket. One envelope, one set of numbers, and decades of speculation could crystallize into hard fact, or dissolve into myth. If the DNA says Rymir is a Carter, the fallout will ripple far beyond one family tree. Contracts will be renegotiated, brand endorsements reevaluated, and hip-hop's royal narrative rewritten overnight. Should the results clear Jay-Z, the victory may still feel Pyrrhic, earned at the cost of public trust and years of legal attrition. Either outcome forces a reckoning with the price of secrecy in an era where receipts never stay buried. Keep your timeline open and your notifications on. The next headline isn't just gossip fodder. It could mark the day rap's most guarded dynasty finally faced its truth. So who's gonna be the next person in the limelight? Please like and subscribe for more of the latest celebrity news and updates. I'll see you all in the next one.